Right, so as I mentioned on my few videos, like driving test has 5 parts. So what are the 5 parts? Part number 1 is an eyesight check. Part number 2 is a vehicle safety question. Part number 3 is general driving ability. Part number 4, reversing exercise. And part number 5 is independent driving. So part number 5 has 2 parts. Like in part of independent driving, it could be sat nav or could be on traffic sign, one way or the other. And part number 2, which is a vehicle safety question, it has 2 parts as well, which is like one is tell me question and one is show me question. So they will ask you the tell me question at the beginning, and the show me question they will ask you while you are driving on the road. Right, so when you will go inside the test center with your parent or obviously with your instructor or with anyone, when you will be sitting down in the waiting room, the examiner will come to you and obviously they will ask you to show them your provisional license. So from there, your test has started. Basically, they need to see who you are and are you the right person or not. After that verification, they will take you out and they will ask you to read a number plate. So that's the part number 1. They need to see like, yes, your eyesight is okay, you can see things properly. Then they will ask you a vehicle safety question, which is part number 2, as I have mentioned. Those are the questions. It is like 14 questions. If you go on Gov website, you will find those 14 questions. So from those 14, you will get just 1. And it could be underneath the bonnet. They will ask you to show them, or could be anything. As an example, like can you please tell me how do you know your brakes are working before you starting your journey? So those are vehicle safety questions. He could ask you or she could ask you while you guys are going inside the car after the eyesight check, or the examiner might ask you to go inside the car and then he will ask you that question when you are in your driving seat. Then obviously he's gonna explain to you what's gonna happen next. So you have to keep yourself calm and listen to the instruction. If you are not sure, then obviously you can ask them to repeat. They will repeat it for you. So never get a panic and never have any doubt on anything. So you're allowed to ask question if you have any doubt before you create any danger. Yeah. And then he will obviously explain to you like your test will last for so and so on, and you will be, as a part of your independent driving, you will be on sat nav, or they might say as a part of your independent driving, you will be on traffic sign, one or the other. And then he will say like you will have 1 maneuver and might be an emergency stop too. So you need to know that from every 5 people, 1 of them gets emergency stop in addition to the parking, and from every 5 people, as a part of independent driving, 1 person get traffic sign. So it doesn't mean like you will get both. Yeah, so 1 parking plus you might get an emergency stop. So you have to think that way. Right, so then obviously you will go out and you will drive around. They need to see you reversing. They will ask you to park somewhere. Like let's say if you think that way is a part number 4, reversing exercise. Every parking has a reverse. The 4 parkings there. One is forward bay parking, either left or right. Reverse bay parking, left or right. Parallel parking, which is a reverse parking. Obviously you will have to park behind a car or front of a car on the left side. Then another one is just pull up right and reverse. if we just imagine all of the parking has reverse. Let's say if the examiner asks you to forward into one of the bays, left or right, then you have to make sure like he will ask you to reverse out. So that's the way he will check your reversing practice, like do you lose any control or how is your reversing. Can you see like the part number 4 is like they need to see your reverse. It's like so many of you come to me, and like I had few of them. They said like I have passed my test and I didn't have a parking. The examiner didn't ask me to park. Then obviously I was asking them like, what did you do on the test? Then they said like, yeah, I pulled up on the right and then I reversed. Then I did tell them like, yes, that was your parking, so they have to give you a parking. Pull up right and reverse is a parking, so you have done your parking. It doesn't mean like you haven't had a parking. You had it, because on part number 4 it says that they need to see your reversing exercise. So you had your parking. And then other way, like some of them, they say like I had 2 parking. They think like emergency stop is a parking too, but emergency stop is a procedure. As I say, like you might get it, might not. So if you do get it, it doesn't mean like you had 2 parking. You had one. In addition to it, you had an emergency stop too. Like as the examiner explained to you earlier, you might get an emergency stop. And then obviously like after those, you will come back to the test center, and until the examiner says that's the end of your test, I would like you to turn off the engine. Your test is not over until then. So you have to listen to those instructions and keep yourself calm until he says like that, because your test is not complete until he says that. Lots of people, they make mistake on last minute. They think like they had a very good ride everywhere, they have done everything properly, and they get overexcited and they make mistake on the last minute. It happens a lot as well. So don't be overexcited. Just keep yourself calm all the way until the examiner says your test is like that's the end of your test. I'm pleased to say you have passed. Congratulations. So that's the end of it. So that's when that test gets complete. Other than that, please just keep yourself calm and listen to the debrief. And obviously another advice I would give, like during the test, the examiner will write down so many notes, so many things he has to record. Don't think like, oh, you are failing and he is just recording too many faults. They have to follow so much procedure, so many things on their iPad. So please ignore those. Just concentrate and listen to the instruction. And obviously you are allowed to ask questions if you are not sure about anything. But please do ask before you create any danger. Like if you're creating something and then last minute you're asking, obviously he's not going to give you the answer. He might hold the steering and divert you somewhere. So please don't ask on the last minute. You are allowed to ask anything, like any confusion you have about the junction. Is it the first exit on the left, or is it the second exit straight ahead? Is it the next road on the left? Things like that before you get there. So that's the best advice I would give. Hope that helps. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.